but a very important piece of this, we've talked about dairy power. We have a local hero who here today, who's been part of the effort to end nuclear power for the past 45 years. He's going to be addressing the nuclear plant in Genoa. It's on the Mississippi River, and the possibility of micro-nuclear plants through the dairy power.
So you got the little handout. There, the handout is the whole presentation. One picture, 10,000 words. Get lots of big pictures. And so, just to rain a little bit on a parade here about high array or things, savior of the world, we're also they threw in the nuclear industry is, the lobbyists are always in there. So they put a little chip in there that says nuclear is carbon free. And as soon as you put nuclear is carbon free in there, then the floodgates open. And then that also means that we don't have to make it financially feasible because it's carbon free. And so you look at the numbers, you see that nuclear is about 10 times more expensive than solar, but it's better because it's carbon free. So anyways, I'm not gonna get into all those little. It's always, it's always in this thing. Okay, well, anyway. Well, I'm gonna scroll down a little bit. Also, try the arrow key. Oh, I scroll down.
Well, where are you scrolling to?
I want to see a bottom.
Oh.
And so, yeah,
Yeah, it's
there,
just a little thing on those there. Oh, I have a better idea.
anyway, I just want to see the bottom. Anyway, so then it gets to be the question, where do you get all these aerial photos? Well, of course, all the aerial photos are just Google Maps. And it turns out that the map that the pictures on Google Maps are old enough so that the nuclear plant, which is totally completely physically gone since 2017, is still on the map. So we see this is the actual nuclear plant. So this is nothing. This is all gone. All the ex-buildings are all gone, but that was just happened in the last year. So the only thing that's left standing is the original coal plant. And it'll probably disappear totally in 2023, 2024 at the latest. And so if we end up with one big blank space, here's what the whole site looks like. Right, so then all these buildings are gone except for the administration building. So of course, if you build a nuclear plant, just like magic, you already have an administration building. This coal piles, coal ash, and then this is the spent fuel. And in the nuclear world, everything that they say is temporary is permanent. Everything we say is permanent is temporary. So this temporary storage is going to be there forever. And the new plants will last forever except that they die. So everything is pretty much backwards in the nuclear world. And so I came up with this term, and basically the site is a nuclear Goldilocks site, or if you're a nuclear person, you're looking for a site, here's all the advantages. We already got a nuclear waste dump. You don't have to build one. It's already there. It's already licensed. All you got to do is follow it over there. You have the whole site has been cleared out. It has transmission lines. It has substations. Everything that you want is already there. So it's basically it's a Goldilocks site. And even in the words of Gerald, power guy, he says even other utilities are interested in the site. So even if there was a miracle in Gerald Power, who was run by 3 career nuclear people, not too much chance they're going to see anything else. They hired 2 guys to be head of generation, and both of them are nuclear career people. And so anyway, so they're greased, the skids and greased pretty much all the way around. And so anyway, so then this is what it looks like up close. And here's the 5 little 12-foot high concrete caps that are there for temporary storage, except that now the Fed government says we don't have a hole in the ground to put it into. So in the meantime, it's just there. And then somebody could say, well, yeah, we're spending $5 million for security per year. And well, typically speaking, that's not an issue because the federal government pays for that. Oh, yeah. And so it's everything is free everything that works on the free enterprise system as long as the government pays for it. And that's pretty much the whole computer industry.
Yeah, so was there a plan for where that was gonna go originally?
Yeah, that was the other mountain thing.
Okay,
But then also, see, you have the mountain that's stopped by the state of Nevada. But then, of course, you think of, well, what's the next state on the list for the underground storage? Northeast Wisconsin. Northeast Wisconsin is next place on the list. Anyway, so if you go right by the highway, this is what it looks like from the highway, the 12 foot high calf sitting there. You know, so they're all sealed up, so even if the river came up 20 feet, put the whole thing underwater, it wouldn't make any difference. So
Where's the security we're talking?
well, that's this.
Right.
That's this whole barrier, you know, which is just your barriers all the way around. And then there's 24 hours a day lights on it, you know, and then there's always at least 5 cars, a lot of people there all the time, presumably calling an airport. That's why it costs $5 million for having these guys sit there and every once in a while look out the window. Yeah, it's still there. So anyway, so that's what it looks like there. This is where the nuclear plant used to stand. There's the administration building. So if you want to build a plant, well, we need an administrator. Well, look at that. It's all ready for building there. And you want to be able to dump water in the river? Well, we've already got the system to dump water. The used to be a power plant there. You want to be able to unload your modular move. Well, we have a whole docking port to unload. So everything you want is already there. That's the coal plant. You notice now, so there's no building. Everything all around the thing is already been knocked down. Anyway, so this is kind of a cute picture. This is in 2005, and they had to get the reactor vessel out of there. And then happened off to South Carolina, so we just went off the highway, the railroad just waved and disappeared around the corner. It's gone. They just took it down to South Carolina, ground, and it's gone. So anyway, so that was like 300 tons. So we needed the super crane to get that thing out of the building. And this I had, you know, I had to get my little dig in here, but all the little incidences at the nuclear plant, but it always, every time they say, well, except that it didn't have any health consequences. You know, it's just like up at up there in Minnesota Monticello nuke, and they leaked 200,000 gallons of tritium contaminated water, and then after 200,000, they said, well, we can probably inform the public we had a leak. So anyway, there it is, 1,000 curies a day. If you ask a nuclear expert, is 1,000 curies a day, is that a lot of radiation? Yeah, lots of radiation. But there it is, they just throttled down the nuke and ran it at half power, even though it says in the manual, never run this power plant less than full power. So they ran it for half power for 6 months, because that kept the amount going out the stack at 999, and then this was in it. You know, and the state guys, well, we're pretty busy over here in Milwaukee, and that guy said, we're pretty busy over here. So anyway, not that we don't trust them. We don't trust them. So this is after they took all the concrete out on the inside, it was just the steel cell sitting there. And then this is the fun one right here. This is a picture when they had to cut the side out because they had to get the reactor out of there. And so this is the inside of a little nuclear plant. Of course, the new nuclear plant, they can eliminate all this stuff. But this is a 6 foot thick concrete wall to protect anybody in the building from radiation from the thing. Well, we don't need that because the new style plant, the whole thing is underwater, so there's nobody there. So
now that that's exposed, what does that mean?
no, I just took a picture that, well, I go by the right day to take a picture.
Okay.
So anyway, so then there the boys are picking out the little steel thing. We said, okay, it's gone. And then we come by 10 years later, well, it's time to put it in the. So this is the new style on the modular reactor, the whole entire thing, and basically they address the problem of how to fix things. And they said, and the solution to how to fix things is don't make anything inaccessible. So everything is replaceable in a new style plant. So that. And then they have little things like the individual, so we can have 6 little independent new plants in there, the whole thing underwater. And one of the advantages is say, well, we have a problem with pumps. So what does Eli must say? What's the best part to have? Right? The best part to have is just eliminate the part. So if pumps are a problem, what's the solution? Don't have pumps. So on the pumps in here, on the primary side of the steam generators here, it's just grab and feed, just like your wood stove.
So isn't it heated in the water?
Well, I'm just saying that when we're talking about new nuclear plants, it's a whole different world, just like comparing electric cars to internal combustion cars, it's a whole new animal, but it's still stuck in the nuclear waste. But we have a solution for the nuclear waste, is I have a piece of paper here that says, see that nuclear waste over there that I produce? The government owns it, and the government has to pay security, so nuclear waste problem is solved. I don't own it, I get a piece of paper that says I don't own it. So there's a lot of grease getting going on in this whole little.
Well, the government is paying for it.
But anyway,
I mean, we're paying.
well, you know, you're not enough because you get these tax rebates. And stuff. But anyway, so that's pretty much the thing, and anybody wants to know more about nukes, we have a separate meeting that gets more into the detail. That's it, right?
That it?
I want to say, one thing that.
Well, what do you want to talk about? Anything else?
He has a question.
I just have, when you and I talked, something that you told me that I think is important is that the new designs are basically require refueling on a regular basis.
Oh.
And not, and the older designs, like you said, you have to blast it down and support. The problem with that is that the power plant that is discussed for Genoa, which is, by the way, is 25 miles from where we are right here on the Mississippi River, would have anywhere from 6 to 12 of these small reactors. And we were discussing this, basically, if each of the fuel rods lasts 2 years, that means they're going to be handling all of this incredibly radioactive material on basically an ongoing basis, moving it from site to storage, to barges, to whatever they'll do, right?
Aerospace, it's like,
Well,
and then it's all,
Yeah,
it's all one big pool, the reactor.
because of this letter,
everything's all
already
has
exists.
to get moving it around inside the pool.
But everybody tends to think, oh, here's a big building, now we've got the nuclear energy inside of it, and it's all contained, it's got all this concrete, want to get into the water, do this and that. The problem is that every time you reinstall the fuel rods, you're going into maximum risk mode, and you're doing it on an ongoing basis, right? So,
Affecting a lot.
Sam,
So,
But from the perspective of the power, supplying power to the grid, they can supply at least some electricity all the time. They're only refueling one at a time.
Let's talk about the bottom line here. What's cheaper? Solar plus
Well-
storage or nuclear?
Well, nuclear is 10 times more expensive to even buy and do it. Everything is more expensive. The cover story is it's carbon free.
talking
And
like.
so, you know, it's carbon free, and we're gonna end up with a little pile of nuclear waste over there, but we saved all that carbon, and so it's worth it.
So why would you go to nuclear instead of solar plus
You
storage? Why
Because you're in the nuclear industry and you're in the business of selling nuclear.
Where's it, does the depleted uranium come from that we put on all of our munitions?
That comes from their enrichment plants down in Kentucky and Tennessee. That's where they uranium that comes out of the ground is 0.7%. Uranium 235 fissionable materials. So the enrichment plants raises the percent of that to, in this particular plant, it's about 5% uranium 235. And then so what the depleted uranium is all the uranium that's left over down there at the enrichment plants.
Thank you.
And then so then now we just got whole big giant mountains of depleted uranium. And then the other guys come along and say, well, you know, that stuff is twice as dense as lead. Really hard, you know, if we just put it at the front end of a bullet, we can shoot it out, and that depleted uranium will go right straight through the tank. And so that's where they made use.
Explode.
No, it's just the fact that depleted uranium is twice as dense as lead and as hard as the tungsten. So I put it on a chip of an artillery shell of a bullet, And you'll zoom when that piece of grading hits the tank, it just makes the whole way straight through the tank, blows up everything. That's the advantage of the big uranium in artillery shells, is it's so heavy that it'll just go right through anything.
So this stuff also has to be touched and moved and
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, but I mean, actually, depleted uranium is pretty low radioactivity. And so you're not going to, the danger of having all that, uranium oxide spread out all over the world is not in the radioactive part of it, it's in that uranium metal, toxic metal. So now you go to Iraq and all those other places, and now we just got a continuous cloud of uranium dioxide over the whole type of country. It's the toxic of the two there.
Because I've been working with New Fudge and in the state for 20 years, and I didn't know we had a storage site in Genoa.
Well,
And like John's saying, it's funny, the Mississippi's flooding right now. It's beautiful. And this did not know it was a storage site in Wisconsin.
and this is your electric car, right?
We need more publicity on this, I think I.
You notice the two pictures on, but you notice in there that the bolters drive all the way around the site and get to the bolt launch place. Because the bolt launch place before the power plant, so Maryland Power made a deal that says, well, we're gonna keep the. So you're gonna, that was long before these got regulations either.
Dana,
Well, wait, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna add one other little factoid there. Spark and I estimate that the value of this, the cost of this would be somewhere in the neighborhood of $4 billion. I did a quick run of the CO2 analysis. For $4 billion, you can triple fund the Focus on Energy program in Wisconsin for 41 years and remove 7 times as much CO2.
Yeah.
So I have two questions. One is people are talking about the water. Is our water affected now by any of this? Or is this one, it's a risk of, if something happens?
Well, we also like environmentalists, we don't like it. We don't like any technology where it's based on we're gonna leave mass behind.
Right.
And that 10,000 years to take care. Doesn't matter how bad or good it is, we don't want to leave stuff behind.
Right.
And then my other question is, what you're gonna say? Well, my other question was, I wondered if people were gonna talk about what is opposition to this right now and how we can.
That's what I
support
wanted to
that.
touch. That's exactly what I wanted to touch. And why,
You know, where to tap.
why we wanted to bring these into the conversation today and why we celebrate the Wisconsin Network for Peace and Justice, because even as we're sitting here, World Without Wars and our other member group, many of our other member groups are meeting in Madison. What's the other one? The Physicians for Social Responsibility. They're also invited to be here, but they're down there. But we need one another to be as educated as we can possibly be, as you're just finding out, and we need to counter. There's big money. Spark and Rob went down to Madison for a nuclear expose where Schilling, Democratic, she was a Democrat, now she works for Dairyland Power. So, and they were so happy to have Republicans and Democrats agreeing that nuclear power is the way to go. Wow. And the day after they went, I was listening to NPR, and NPR was spouting the glory of nuclear.
Oh, my God.
So we need each other.
Yeah.
Because just like we put up the telephone poles, I didn't physically do it, but I'm one of those people who did. And I want to regain that spirit. And that's the only way, because we don't have the money. What we have is the clarity. What we have is the stamina, but we need the unity.
Yeah.
We need the unity, and we need to be able to talk to
And
everybody.
knowledge.
Get them all in, educate as much as we can, and move towards, because I always say this, you want to move towards what you want, not be running away from what you don't. So let's move towards, and then now you understand why when we have conference calls, which we have almost leading up to the Vernon Electric thing we had weekly, now we're backing off to every 2 weeks. Why our 1 hour conference calls all obviously go to 2.5 hours, because there's a lot to cover. But I just want to thank you both for taking the time, and there's so much more, but we still have other things to cover in this spring steering meeting.
This is fascinating, thank you.
And just, Steve Walters is having a Zoom meeting, statewide Zoom meeting for Wisconsin Peace, to Milwaukee and the Wars Coalition and Peace Action.
Right.
Wisconsin. So if you want to register, it's between 3 and 4:30.
Well, and that's the next part of this program today, and Ty's gonna be taking it over. Yeah.
Okay.
And you're gonna be, and so different groups that are represented here, like Profit Stewardship Program and Soul and whoever, plus the people who are online, like Steve, will be able to talk about what they're doing.